This is United Ramble. We are now going to look forward to 2014, make some predictions and discuss what we hope for. First up, guys, if you're a player at United, what are your New Year's resolutions?
My New Year's resolution, if I'm a player at United, is give the ball to Danny Welbeck. Because it's obvious to me that he's on fire and he's going to carry us forward in 2014. He's going to be the one that's going to take us forward to title number 21.
I don't think that the players... I just think concentrate a bit more in games. Last-minute equalisers were a bit annoying in that first half of the season. Okay, there weren't that many, but the two of them that they're equalisers. We drop points, and that's 4 points, and that's one. Look at the table, where it'd be above Liverpool if it weren't for that. So I'd say maybe concentrate a bit more.
One thing I would say is perhaps don't break ranks. We've seen a little bit of it recently, haven't we, with Rio Ferdinand, Welbeck himself. I think Kagger as well gave an interview where he defended Moyes about what Moyes had said about him eating too much. Now, I know they've all got a reason for saying these players, but you never saw that under Ferguson. Players never broke ranks, and if they did, they didn't last very long. So I think that if you have got a problem with what the manager said, keep it to yourself, speak to the manager about it rather than the press. I think it's very important we keep a United front for the second half of the season.
A United front makes a lot of sense. What about individual players? What about Danny Welbeck? What should he be thinking? What's his resolution?
Keep going. He's doing everything right. He's playing his all-round game has always been great, and now he's adding goals. He needs to get in the box. There's still a few occasions where I'm watching him. He sort of does hang back a little bit. He's not sort of just charging in, but when he does, he's getting on the end of things now. He's getting the goals. If he does, for example, get pushed out wide when Rooney comes back, or he shouldn't let his head drop. He needs to just crack on, carry on what he's doing, because he's playing good football. He's strong. He's quick. He's got great feet. He's playing really good football. There's no need to worry about what anyone else is doing. Just carry on with what he's doing.
Okay, Moyes has set him a target of 20 goals a season. Can he do it, Jeff?
Definitely. I think, what's he on? 7 in all competitions?
7.
At the half.
10 if you count England goals.
This is it, halfway stage season. I think if Moyes is setting him that target, though, Moyes needs to do him the favour of playing him in his preferred position up front. It's no good setting him a target of 20 goals and then shifting him out to the left wing or giving him 15 minutes here and there. So if he is given a chance and he is played up front, there's no reason why a player like Danny Welbeck can't get the goals. The contradiction for me is, with Danny Welbeck, I'm always banging on about how talented he is and how great he is, and yet he doesn't get enough goals. But part of the reason is he's not playing his preferred position. So if he does get the chance up front, which he has been getting of late, then there's no reason why he can't get 20 goals. We saw a few seasons ago, I think he got, 12 goals in all competitions, where he played quite a few more games up front. We've seen it for England. So I think if he's given the chance, he can definitely do it. And I think that if Moyes is setting him that target, that for me sort of hints that Moyes is willing to give him the chance up front.
Okay, what about the midfield, for example? Any resolutions there that we need?
What, from the current players? Or
Yeah.
Yeah, I think from Carrick's point of view, he needs to try and resolve to get back to his form last year. I know he's had an injury recently, but I think he's very much key to the second half of our season. So that's all about working hard to get back to what he was like last year. And the rest of them, they need to be there to make sure they help him out. And it doesn't matter about rumours in the papers about people maybe or maybe not coming in. They need to do what they're doing. It's past the stage now for Tom Cleverley to say, I'm waiting to fulfil my potential. He needs to start doing it now and doing it in every game. Fletcher is a difficult one. He's just come back from illness, and I still have doubts as to whether he'll get back to the top. So for him, the resolution will be to stay healthy, to be honest. And Fellaini needs to come in and prove himself. His resolution is, I'm going to come in, I'm going to prove myself, I'm worth £27 million, I'm worth the faith that the manager's put into me, and I'm going to prove people wrong. So those are the three that forward players that I'm looking at.
Just take a look at Darren Fletcher. That's what you need to be doing. The dedication that he's shown is an example to everyone. And I think that lately we've seen Cleverley turn the corner a little bit. In his last few games, he's looked really impressive. Like you say, Fellaini's got his injuries. Anderson, I've given up on. But I think if they can all sort of... No, it's almost beyond a joke now, waiting for him to come good. But I think if everyone sort of shows the same attitude as Darren Fletcher has, we'll be okay.
Makes sense. Right, so let's talk about transfers. We brought in Fellaini. There's a lot for him to do to prove a £27 million price tag by the end of this season. It's probably an impossible task. But who do we want to see come and who do we want to see go?
What are we talking? Ideal situation? I mean, I saw in the papers, although it's a complete joke, and I don't put any faith in it or at all. 50 million for Ross Barkley. I mean, that's ridiculous. If we're going to spend 50 million on a player, I would go for an ideal situation. Look at Arturo Vidal. But let's not sort of get ahead of ourselves. I don't think we've got that kind of money to spend on a single player. So I think more realistically, we're looking into Portugal. We're looking at probably at players like Cabaye. So I mean, I'd be happy if we brought in, for example, Cabaye. I mean, I know him quite well. Obviously, we watch him every week. But there's talk of players coming in from Portugal. Unfortunately, I don't watch that league that often. But William Carvalho is one that I've heard mentioned. Alexandro, the left back, another one from Porto. I would say, from my point of view, Cabaye, I'd be happy even if we just brought in Cabaye. I mean, because January is notoriously difficult. You're not going to get in top-class players very easily. You're going to be paying over the odds anyway. So if he was to come in, I'd be happy.
Yeah, I mean, there's talk of that the Barkley story. I saw that in Manchester Evening News, 50 million, and I think that's ridiculous. There's no way on God's earth I can see us spending 77 million on 2 Everton midfielders. It's just not going to happen. Plus, I don't think Barkley wants to play for Moyes, if I'm honest. I might be wrong, but if you look at some of the statements he's made and the way he didn't really get much of a chance under Moyes, I don't know if he'd be that keen to come to United and play under Moyes again. So I think that's a bit of paper talk. Cabaye's a great player, he knows the Premier League. Could be a good signing. There's also talk of Everton Ribeiro from is it Cruzeiro in Brazil. They've just won the Brazilian title. He played a big part in that. Creates loads of chances. But then again, do we need another sort of attacking midfielder who can play out wide? Probably not. So I'd probably look to Germany. Maybe Sven Bender, someone like that, who could come in. I think he could do a good job. But again, it's whether we can get these players to come into a side that, as it stands, there's no guarantee we're going to play in Champions League football next season. I know that sounds a little bit melodramatic or negative, but we might have to sort of cut our cloth accordingly, as Colin Moore always likes to say, and go for a player that we know we can get. And someone like Cabaye, someone like that would probably be a realistic target.
Okay, we've got loads and loads and loads and even more transfer videos about for you guys, so look out for all of those. Jay, you just touched on, maybe we won't make TMZ. What are realistic expectations by the end of this season? We're still in every competition.
Well, this is it. We're still in every competition, and Olympiacos are a very beatable side, in my opinion. You know, I don't think there's any reason why. I know they've got a good home record, but let's be realistic about who they've been playing. There's no reason why we can't get into the last 8 of the Champions League. And then, who knows, stranger things have happened. You know, Chelsea won it a few seasons ago, and they had arguably one of the worst sides in the competition. So there's no reason why we can't go far in the Champions League. In terms of the Premier League, Jossie touched on it on the other video we did. You look at expectations, Liverpool are having one of their greatest ever Premier League seasons. And how many points ahead of us are there? Is it sort of 2 or 3 points or something? 2 points?
At the time of recording, it's 2.
At the time of recording, they're 2 points ahead of us, and yet they're having the most amazing season in the last 20 years. So I think there's no reason why, if we get some of the results that we think we can get in the Premier League, going into the back end of the season as well, we've got some tricky games, but we've got some home games that I think we can win. Liverpool have got to come to Old Trafford. City have got to come to Old Trafford, and we owe them a result at Old Trafford. There's no reason why I don't think we can get in the mix for the title. Might not be able to win it, but there's no reason why come April, May, we can't still be in with a shout of it. And I think if we are in with a shout of the title, with sort of maybe 5 or 6 points off the top, come the last sort of 5 or 6 games, I think that's a successful season for Moyes in his first campaign.
I mean, realistic expectations from now. I kind of agree with Jay to a certain extent. If we were to be within 5 points of the title with 5 or 6 games to go, that would be an amazing turnaround, and I would say that's a huge success for Moyes, considering the start we've made. We're still in the League Cup. We've got is it a semi? We've got a semi coming up.
We've got a semi.
Yeah, I mean that's a very winnable cup. Any cup is a cup, to be honest. That was Wayne Rooney, Cristiano Ronaldo. That's where they started. Arsene Wenger would have killed for it a couple of seasons ago. So yeah, that's winnable. So a cup and a top 4, I think, is realistic. As a fan, I think we still have it in us to be in and around the mix, as Jay said. And Champions League, Liverpool won it. That tells you everything. So we could go on a run in the Champions League. We could be a cup side this season and hit the top 4. Like Jay said, Chelsea have won it recently. Liverpool have won it recently. You never know, but it's an unrealistic expectation. But it's something you can hope for.
Yeah, I think if we can win a cup, sort of any cup, and finish the season in the mix. I think that's a really good end of the season, because if we fall out of the Champions League and then we're trying to buy top players in the summer, why are they going to come?
It's not just that as well, Sam. It's a good point, but it's just keeping players. Is Wayne Rooney going to stay in United's side if we're not in the Champions League? Is RVP going to see the sort of the twilight of his career out at a side in the Europa League? And also, do you want to be in the Europa League next season? We've seen Spurs fly all over Eastern Europe, come back, and then suffer the consequences in the Premier League. So I'm not too sure. I think that you're right. I think we have to make the top four. Otherwise, players like Rooney, RVP, Kagawa, Chicharito, De Gea, they might not be around next season.
Okay, so in a year's time, when we're sat here discussing this again, where do we see ourselves? What kind of position do we think United will be in? Moyes maybe will be past all of these little hiccups. We'll have a great squad, and we've won the treble.
I think that's realistic. I think we won the treble. Januzaj will have won the Ballon d'Or, and Danny Welbeck will be the one of the Golden Boot. I think that's. Well, we're despite all the negativity and the doom and gloom, we have still got some great young players coming through. I think Januzaj looks like he's the real deal. He's an exciting player that's only going to get better. We spoke about Welbeck getting on adding goals to his game. The young defenders, Jones, Smalling, that could be a defensive partnership that could carry us through. De Gea just seems to keep getting better, and the fact that he's only sort of, what is he, 20, 21?
21,
is pretty scary. So I think that the core of a good sort of young squad is there. We just need to bring in a couple of players and hope that the sort of the young players that are coming through can keep their feet on the ground and fulfil the potential that they're showing. But I think that this time next season, I think we'll be in a lot better position than we are now.
Yeah, I agree. I think we'll be stronger. I think the summer will be more key to that than January, to be honest with you. He's got to go out there and he's got to bring in the right players, and they've got to be players that can come in and make that impact pretty much straight away. The squad, as we've said, we've got some older players, we've got a good core group of young players, but I think there's a limited number of players who are hitting their peak just at the right time. So that's where we sort of need to add into the squad. If he does that in the summer, then I think this time next year we'll be a lot happier. We'll be chatting about a lot stronger squad and a bit more of not a brighter future, but we'll be more confident about it being a bright future. But I'm excited to see how Januzaj comes along, and we've got a few other Belgians in the youth team that may be coming through next season. The youngsters are the most exciting part of the squad at the moment, and I want to see Danny Welbeck really push on now. That would be awesome.
I agree. I think regardless of what happens in the summer, United under Moyes will always be around the top four. He's a good enough manager, and we do have certainly a good enough squad and brilliant young players coming in. Whether or not we're the strongest team in the land, I think that the summer will be so important, because not only on who we buy, but on who other players buy and who leaves, because you never know if someone like Yaya Toure suddenly says, actually, I fancy going back to Spain. That changes City's team massively. So it's very difficult to tell, but I think we'll be there. We'll always be there.
Or the Sheikh decides, screw this, I'm going to a quarter of a...
I'm going to buy a basketball team.
He's going to get into rugby.
Yeah.
Or jogging.
Or he could go out and buy Lionel Messi, you never know. And then we're all sort of sitting here going, oh, Kabai. Okay, let's...
I think they've got more chance with Lionel Richie. Guys, thanks very much. Now, here's how we see ourselves in a year's time. The #1 subscribed football fan channel on YouTube. And guess what? You can make that a reality right now by pressing subscribe. Do it. Thank you. Leave a little comment. Tell us what you thought. And check out all our other transfer videos. There are loads.